Hi everyone. Can you all hear me? Am I audible to all?
Yes.
Okay, right. So students who are attending my today's session as their first session, this is an information for you people. Last week we actually started this batch. We just completed uh, demonstration classes, you can call demonstration classes. So whatever things that were discussed last session in 2 to 3 sessions, you have videos related to that. You can ask management, they'll share the videos, you can go through it. Practicals not yet started. We just have covered these all basics. In demonstration class, I have just come up with some overview kind of thing related with introduction to SQL Server, roles and responsibilities of DBA. Explanation we didn't go. I just made a list because at this stage we cannot understand all those things related with roles and responsibilities. Then the standalone and clustering environment, the way it will be, life cycle of database. Yeah, you want to show, you want to see that as well. Yeah, standalone and yeah, this was standalone environment architecture, which will have only one production server, only one server, and the other one will be standby server. This we don't use at all. Means if you have a small, process to be done in your database environment, less users are working, less database size is small, uh, you don't have heavy traffic on your network to work with this, then people prefer to work with small companies will prefer for it. Large companies will prefer to work with clustering environment, not the standalone. Then I have discussed about life cycle of database. Yeah, that was another part we discussed. Life cycle of database. Oh, where did I keep it? Okay, might be I moved it to some other location. Once I'll get that from there. 5 p.m. life cycle. Yeah, yeah. This was life cycle of database. Yeah, this was last topic. Today we are going to learn most important about types of servers we discussed. That SQL Server provides 4 types of servers: database server, integration server, reporting server, and analysis server. Who works on database server? I mentioned there: developers, administrator, BI developers. They work on database server. Whereas integration, reporting, analysis servers are used only by BI developers. Only by BI developers. Okay. And types of services, right? How to check services, that also we covered. Today we are going to start most important topic, that is hierarchy of SQL Server in a machine. In one of my DBA batches, I have already come up with that picture. The same I'll open and explain you what actually happens in it. Yeah. And you can say whatever I'm going to explain now, it is something related with the logical structure of your database. It is not physical structure. It is about logical. Database always provides 2 types of representations: logical data, physical data. When I say physical data, it's connected with hard disk and files. Indirectly, you can say files in hard disk. Logical data, it has nothing to do with memory. It's all about logical, like it doesn't have any memory process. Logical. So I'm going to first cover hierarchy of SQL Server in a machine. That part we'll discuss. Later on, we'll talk about rest of the things. Yeah. So online sessions. SQL DBA, 9 p.m. Yeah. Hierarchy of SQL Server. Copy. So let's understand that. Oh, yeah, this part will understand. Okay. Listen carefully. Every point that which I cover on this, right? First point. So obviously, I'm talking about a single system because as I already said in my demonstration class, in real time, we don't work with SQL Server on a standalone machine. They prefer to install SQL Server in a Windows Server operating system. They install SQL Server on Windows OS, that to server OS, because it is multi-user OS it is. Wherein for practice purpose, we make it available on standalone machine, single system. Okay. So here is a scenario. First, your machine base layer is hardware. Then Windows OS version doesn't matter. Whichever Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11, anything. And on that Windows operating system, you install SQL Server software. And remember, installing SQL Server software on a machine is called instance. What they call? Instance. Yeah. How many times you can install SQL Server software on a machine? Answer is 50 times. 50 times you can install. 50 times. First time when you install, it is called default instance. 49 times when you install, they are called named instances. Named instances. Yeah. So why do you want those many installations? So on what basis we find their implementation? These all are yet to be discussed. Coming classes, we'll study that part. Okay. But how many times you install SQL Server software? 50 times. Are you talking about 50 times same software? 50 times different versions? Anything is fine. Anything is fine. Same software you install for 50 times, or you install like this. SQL Server 14, 10 times you install. SQL Server 2016, install 10 times. SQL Server 2017, install 10 times. Already 30 times over. You understand? So each software you go with multiple times, or one software you install for 50 times. 50 times. That depends on your choice. No restrictions from Microsoft. So how many times you install? 50. First time, what do you call? Default instance. 49 times, what do you call? Named instances. And remember one point. For the very first time when you install SQL Server, that is default instance, remember, by default, there is a name given to that installation. By default, there is a name given to that installation. And that name is MS SQL Server. It is the name provided by software, hence it cannot be edited. It cannot be modified. Which one? Instance name of default instance. What is the name? MS SQL Server. That is default instance. Named instances you have multiple times now, so it will give you a provision to provide a name for the named instance. A text box will be activated and it will ask you to provide name of the instance. To your choice, any name can be provided. I gave for reference to this as server 1, server 2, Poonam, server 3, Shareef. These all are the names given by me for understanding. Named instances. Yeah. Each installation, one instance name. Each instance. And you know one thing. Here, instance name for default instance. I'm not saying that you have to follow any sequence in this. I didn't say that only after installing default instance you have to try named instances. No, there is no such point as well. During installation, Two radio buttons will be there for you. One will be for default instance, one will be for named instance. You make a choice. First, you want to go with named instance, make a choice of named instance. No restrictions at all. I didn't say that only after installing default instance, named instances gets activated. No, not at all. After you can randomly, you can install named instance first, and after that you can go with default instance. That's left to your choice. Okay. And one more thing. And that point is, whenever you install SQL Server software, since it is client server technology, SQL Server is client server technology, what you find is you're provided by a server name. You're provided by a server name. So in real time, wherever is your Windows Server operating system, that Windows Server operating system name is considered as server name. But for us, whatever is your personal system name, that would act as server name. You want to check this? Go to command prompt, simply say host name Ahmed. Ahmed. A is capital in. For my reference, I'm saying like here. This is my system name. Two things are different, please. System name is different. User name is different. They both cannot be compared at all. Yeah. So if you look into my, you can check even in your personal computer. Just type house name. Not necessary that that your name you may be providing in it. You may get a name even by default from your your vendor or from where you have purchased this machine company. I mean to say, they sometimes they provide the system name that would start like this: desktop hyphen some code will be there. In that way, you may have your host name. For me, I renamed it to Ahmed. And username will be different. You want to check that? Yeah. Echo percentage, username percentage. This is Ahmed in small letters. This is username of my machine. That is system name of my machine. Two different things I'm talking about. Yeah. So now what is my machine name? Ahmed. Here is. For default instance, only system name is provided as Ahmed. Only. So if you find a server name as Ahmed, you have to understand that you're working with default instance. You're working with the default instance. And for named instances, you will be provided by the server name like this. Your system name will be there, your instance name will be there. For default instance, you won't have your instance name here. No, you won't have. For default instance, no instance name, but for named instances, your system name will be followed by even your instance name. Why am I saying these things like compulsory? As an administrator, you should have a very clear picture of how these things are represented in real time and how these things are represented in your personal system. Work will remain same. Only environment that changes is that would be a real-time environment. This would be a practice environment. Rest of all will remain as it is. Yeah. And now one more interesting thing. One more interesting thing. Whenever this general concept is everyone will be aware of it. Whenever you install any software in your computers related to that software, one folder will be created. Related to that related to that software, one folder will be created. In that folder, software will be installed. If you go to Java, Java related one folder will be there. Java software will be inside in it. If you install Windows operating system, Windows one folder will be created. In that software will be installed. Like that, remember, in SQL Server, whenever you install database server software, it will create one folder by this name, MS SQL. Yeah. MS SQL is a folder containing database server software. MSRS is a folder containing reporting server software. MSAS is a folder containing analysis server software. Yeah, these are fixed names, fixed names. This may change, this may change. I took an example of 12 because I have installed SQL Server 2014. For SQL Server 2014, for that version is 12. For SQL Server 2014, the version will be 12. If you are working with SQL Server 2000, for example, say 2012, if you're working with SQL Server 2012, the folder will be MS SQL 11. If you're working with SQL Server, yeah, depends, I'm saying, depends which version you're using. So what is the version number now? MS SQL 12. 12 means 2014. If you have installed 2016, if you have installed SQL Server 2016, then the folder will be MS SQL 13. If you have installed SQL Server 2017, then you'll have MS SQL 14. So depending on which version you have installed, relevant to that, you'll be provided by a version number in the folder. So MS SQL 12 indicates SQL Server 14. What are your folder names that are fixed now? MS SQL, MSRS, MSAS. What is 12 then? That is your version number. That differs from one version to other version. Yeah. What is MS SQL folder contains? Database server software. What is MSRS folder contains? Reporting server software. What is MSAS folder contains? Analysis server software. Yeah. And you know one thing, along by looking into these folder names also, you can identify which server, how many times has been installed in your machine. Yes. Folder names also gives you an indication about it. Like what here, MS SQL. Also, this is one time database server software. Again, MS SQL. This is second time database server software. Again, MS SQL. This is third time database server software. Again, MS SQL. This is fourth time. It means in this example, SQL server software or database server software has been installed for 4 times. Database server software has been installed for 4 times. Yeah. 4 times you have installed. How many times reporting server you have installed? Here 1 time, here 1 time. But the 2 times I have installed reporting server software. Once for default instance, once for named instance. How many times analysis server software you have installed? 1 time, 2 time. Yeah. Once for default instance, once for named instance. Yes. Folder names will also explain you how many times SQL Server software has been installed. There are many ways we can find how many times SQL Server software has been installed. I'm talking about folders here, folder. If not folders, you have to open the tool, Management Studio. Then you have to go with here, server name indication, and there click on Browse for more, and you can see 4 times I have installed SQL Server software in my machine. Only Ahmed indicates default instance. Server 1, server 2, server 3 are my named instances. Are my named instances. That is one way. If not that way, this is another way. Folders will also explain you. Folders will also explain. You want to see in my machine? Yeah, I'll show you. With folder names only we'll identify now. C drive, program files, then SQL Server. Here, folders are there. See, MS SQL, how many times you find? 4 times. MS SQL, 4 times you have. 4 times. Means database server I have installed for 4 times and reporting server 1 time, analysis server 1 time. Four times what? Default instance once and named instances 3 times. And this is reporting server for default instance, analysis server for default instance. Yeah, these are the folders that give you explanation about which server has been installed for how many times. Yeah. Okay. Now, going little for, you have anything to ask in this part for me? Shall I continue? Yes, please. Ritesh, Sachin, Nalini, and Madasami.
It's clear, sir.
Clear? Sure, fine. Right. Now, going forward on this, the next what you study is in SQL Server software, means whenever you create an instance, here we are provided to have list of databases. And that list provides a number as 32,767 databases can be created. So why this number 32,767 is, till that point, databases successfully can be created and you don't face any issues. If you cross that limit, 32,767, if you cross, if it is small database, no problem. But if database is little heavy after 32,767, then memory issues will arise. So for that reason, till which number of database you don't face any problem towards memory, any problem towards processor, any problem towards RAM, any problem towards your other areas of your hardware, you have a limit provided as 32,767. Exceeding this limit may put you in trouble. Exceeding this limit may come across with other problems in your database. Yes. 32,767 what? Databases. And we are going, now I'm not going to explain anything about them. Just I made a list there. System databases, sample databases, business databases. Immediate to my this introduction module, I have a topic to deal with database, working with SQL Server databases. From there, full-fledged practicals will begin. So from there, I'll explain you all system databases with a detailed explanation, sample databases, even related to that physical level working process also I'll cover in it. And then I'll go with business databases. All types will cover, all types. System databases, sample databases, plus what? Business databases. Okay, and one more thing also remember, one more point also you remember, system databases are of types again. I mean, the number I'm saying, number of system databases we have. Sample databases changes from one version to other version. Business databases are our created databases. I won't discuss about them, coming classes we'll study. Now, inside the database, we are made available by small blocks. Those blocks are called schema. Yes. Inside database, we are made available with what? Schema. Yes. Inside database, we are made available with the schema. Schema is what now? Simple definition. Schema works like a folder. Yeah. I didn't say schema is a folder, okay? I said schema works like a folder. Yeah. Schema works like a folder. Yeah. And as far as SQL Server is concerned, we are provided with two types of schemas, built-in schemas plus user-defined schemas. Two types we have. Built-in schemas are there, user-defined schemas are there. Now, when the topic comes, when the topic we come across in our practical, at that time I'll explain you, right? And now under schema, we can find list of objects. That objects limit also provided to 32,767. Yeah. And then what did you find? Objects include that list I get. Tables, views, synonyms, sequences, indices, constraints, procedures, functions, triggers, lot of other things are there. These all comes under category of what? Objects. Yeah. Right. And then I mentioned here, four statements I mentioned. OS, OS is collection of one or more instances. Instance, collection of one or more databases. Database is collection of one or more schemas. Schema is collection of one or more objects. Yes. Hmm. So it's always preferred in real time. It's always preferred in real time that when a single database is being used by multiple users, when more people are working on one database, so all will not be made available to work on one schema. You understand? Like when a team of, say, for example, 5, 6 people are working on one database, since they all are working on same project, so obviously for all of them you'll have one database. One database, fine, but making all of them work in one schema may put you in trouble. You may come across with concurrency issues. Yeah, concurrency problems may arise if you make all of the people to work on what? Yeah, single schema. That is the reason work is segregated. Yeah, work is segregated where? Yeah, so work will be segregated into schemas, right? So for everyone, one schema is created. For everyone, I'm saying. For everyone, one schema is created. Yes. Yeah. If 5 people are working on one database, 5 schemas they create. And they will be provided with an information that whatever tasks you do in your on the database, you should follow a rule of providing things in your own schema. You cannot mix up your things. So one schema will not be available for another person. Schema will be always a dedicated one. That is different. We can exchange. Like if one user has created one object, and if that object is in need of another user of your same team working on the same project, then you can exchange your data. How to exchange is that what you're going to learn in security. Yeah, in security we'll see how to make object of one schema to another schema. How to access objects of one schema to another schema. Yeah, that part we'll discuss. And here comes here. What is an instance? Here I mentioned separate copy of same or different software product is called instance. When I started talking about instance, about the number 50, I started like this. Same software 50 times or different softwares 50 times. It's left to you. It is left to you. Yeah. Separate copy of same or different software product is called instance. Obviously, every instance will have their own binaries and folders. That is what I was talking about, folders. Database server 10 times you install, you'll have 10 folders. every folder will contain database server software. And reporting server, 10 times you install, 10 folders it creates, 10 times software is copied or installed. Same is the case for analysis server. Yeah. The only server which will not be repeated for installation, that is your integration server. Integration server is a shared server. It is not installed for multiple times. Yeah. And here I mentioned advantages. It reduces cost. It is to maintain production, development, testing environment separately. You have a provision of testing new versions without upgrading. Allows to maintain logins with different permissions. That is what schemas. Maintain logins with different permissions. Yeah. So one developer will be his work. His work is only to work on a database to do operations related with select, insert, update, delete. But you will make him to do only those four activities. He is not involved in creating table. He is not involved in creating view. He is not involved in creating synonym. His work is daily. He should come. He should do retrieval and that insert, update, delete operations. That's it. Another person's job is to create tables. His work is to create tables. His work is to create relationship between tables. So he'll be given an activity of doing only creation of table, altering a table, dropping a table. Only those activities he'll be allowed. So those all such type of permissions can be granted when personal logins are created, so that every login, every developer or every person will be provided with some restricted activities to do in a real time. Even this is a fact, even as an administrator, you're not involved in doing all sort of work in a company. If it is a startup where we have less people working, we have less number of, databases available, then you have lot of exposure for yourself to work on different areas of DBA. If you have joined into a big MNC where already they have like many DBAs working, then yeah, you may be given a specific task to do daily. Like your job is only to take care of databases related issues. But any database issue, they'll consult you. Any database query, you are answerable. Or once you are done with 1 year, 2 years of experience on databases, then you may ask like you want to migrate to security part. So then slowly they may put you on to deal only with security. Security may logins, users, schemas, permissions, auditing, what do you call encryption, decryption, transparent data encryption, policy-based management. These all things daily we come across to do with issues, sometimes to resolve, sometimes new things to create. Those things you have to handle. And then again, after 1-2 years, having a good experience on security, then you can slowly migrate yourself to take things related to what now? Backup, restore, and recovery process. Yeah, that is one more module. So this will give you a good support. But when you're working in a big MNC, asking you to handle everything, then goes things little long. They won't do that because the server will be quite very much highly, in a sensitive environment. It is sensitive content it is containing, so you will not be allowed to work on it. Even if they ask you to do, they may ask you to work only on a non-production environment, not in the production environment. Yeah, this is the hierarchy. Which hierarchy? Physical, logical. This is purely logical. Yeah, this is completely logical. This has nothing to do with the physical environment. Yes. Mhm. Physical level concept is completely different. Physical level. There I'll talk about there physical level. I mean, when it comes to hard disk, in hard disk, how data is maintained, then you need to know these steps. You should know first about file groups. Then you should know about data file. Then you should know about something called extent. Then you should know about something called data page. Then you should know something about data blocks. Yes. This is physical level. Where am I talking all that stuff here? I didn't say about file group. I didn't say about data file. I didn't talk about extend. Those that is not needed here. This is logical structure. That which I'm saying is about physical structure of database. How data in hard disk is getting arrayed. The things what I said now. Different concept, different approach. Logical is different, physical is different. Yeah. Okay. That's it. Yeah. Anything still? You are we going to learn them like tables views? No, we just use them. Existing things we use. I'm not going to explain you, about how you create sequence, how you that all developer will do. We don't do. So, but still as a DBA, compulsory, you should have idea about development. Because you are also involved in writing queries. You're also involved in writing scripting. Sometimes you require to have a stored procedure, then you're supposed to create that. And that would be possible only when you have a knowledge of it. That is the reason I said very clearly. Learning direct administrator may sometimes put you in trouble. That too, if you're trying for a job on an experience profile. If you're trying for a job with on some reference, provided that it will as a fresher, then no problem. Whatever we learn, that would be more than enough. They don't much focus on SQL Server part, but still, as an if you're going with experience, compulsory, you will be asked few things related even with what SQL Server development, 100%, no doubt in it. That is the reason having knowledge of SQL Server development is an added advantage for DBA. But just because that you're DBA, you cannot escape saying that you can't write queries. No, that may not be a case. You should write queries. Who will write query? The basic things developer will write, but something related to the administration part, you are the only one who writes a query. Developer doesn't know like how many people are working on the server, but you should know. You should know how many background processes are going, how many servers are, how many people are connected to server, how many people are working on the server. You should know that. And that would be done either with a query or can be through wizard, through interactive way. Either you write a query or, but not necessary that interviewer will ask you only about, only about wizard process. Wizard process is something which is next to impossible. For this system, okay, but real time, you can't say no. Go and click there, then you'll get one window. Go and click there, again one more window. Then from there you'll have one button. Click on the button, one more window gets opened. That way we cannot remember. Best way to remember to make things easy for interview is to practice queries, is to practice, scripting. At least whatever I cover, you should be thorough with it. At least that is more than enough if you get an idea on. This is the hierarchy of SQL Server. How logically objects are arranged in database. Logical, don't forget. Something I'm talking about which doesn't have memory. Yeah. Physical, then you have to understand something which has memory allocation. So here I'm talking about hierarchy of SQL Server, referring to what? Logical environment of database. Okay, that's it. This is one topic. We are done. Yeah, tomorrow I'll take up new topic. We'll stop the session. tomorrow. First, I'll discuss how is the difference, or what is the difference you notice between SQL Server release and SQL Server version. That part first I'll explain you. Then slowly I'll get into editions of SQL Server. Yeah. So we have around more, you can say, 2 to 3 topics. Then we are into full-fledged practical. Nothing to worry about notes. Soft copy will be shared with you.